come on.
Thank you, Buck. But I can get by on my own.
The thing is, you don't have to. I'm with you to the end of the line, pal. Welcome to Jae Explains, gang. In this video, we're going to be talking why I, Jae, can't help but love you. Subtitled Social Engineering. Let's just hop into this. Guys, the subconscious is an amazing thing. In psychology, it is part of the consciousness that isn't in one's focal awareness. Meaning, it's the stuff that we think about when we aren't really thinking about it. It's deep, it's subtle, and more often than not, it's where each and every one of us bury our true feelings about almost everything. When you swallow your pride, where do you think it goes? Not to your butt. There's an old saying about the world being a stage and life being a play. I'm not direct quoting here, but there is endless validity to that idea. Give people an audience and they'll show their ass, but talk to them in a one-on-one setting and they are far more reasonable. If there's any reason to be had at all. Some people operate solely on emotion. And let's make this clear right now. Emotion and logic are diametrically opposed. I mean, the best example of how they work is logic is water and emotions are Kool-Aid. As soon as the Kool-Aid touches the water, it becomes Kool-Aid. We put on performances to please onlookers, to not seem weak or vulnerable. We guzzle Kool-Aid and anchor into positions, refusing to budge because the perception is of far greater importance than the reality, whether it be public perception or self-perception. Recognizing that no one sees themselves as a bad person, even if on paper they are the absolute worst, has been one of my favorite revelations in all of life. It's why I can't help but love you, because no matter who you are or what you've done, you feel as if every choice you've ever made was completely justified, no matter how much Kool-Aid was in the mix. This is where social engineering comes into play. Don't know if you noticed or not, but this entire time we've been riding around our hometown of Irvington, New Jersey. And I got a story to tell right quick. Right before the governor's race, I stopped by a local plantation sub-headquarters on Chancellor Avenue and chopped it up with the local political heavyweight who said, and I quote, "I will not stand. I will stand on any corner in this town and proclaim it is not the hood." After I had stated that it is the hood, and watching this footage, which of us do you think was all hopped up on Kool-Aid that day? I did not realize how much I was going to be relying on that Kool-Aid metaphor. Social engineering is the concept of psychological manipulation, coupled with generations of social conditioning, the sociological process of training individuals to act in a manner that society deems acceptable, and the toll cultural conditioning endeavors such as the drug war, welfare state, third-wave feminism, and the sexual liberation, the prison industrial complex, and countless others have caused havoc on not only Irvington, but hoods or urban communities nationwide. No other culture has been so blatantly manipulated in the history of civilization. Whether you believe the Willie Lynch letters are real or not, from hip-hop to soul food, each facet of the black culture has been guided by hands that are not our own. In previous videos, I call black people who exploit the black experience for profit replicants. But those aspects are likely just the byproduct of the exact same engineering and conditioning that we have all been subjected to. How do you teach what you don't know? How could we expect our communities to thrive when the fathers are deemed unnecessary? Masculinity has been neutered through generations of single women raising young boys on the mantra, "You don't need no man," which rings hollow as she goes through the pillars of white supremacy, the legal system, to obtain money from a man that has absolutely no reproductive rights after conception. Brainwashing, indoctrination, whatever you want to call it. Too many of the young girls have been raised to disregard men because they are automatically victims by virtue of vagina. And too many of the young men are raised by women to be what the particular woman idea of a man is, which is like asking a frog to teach a horse how to be a horse. There are all these programs and initiatives. Just got finished reading an article where this guy is receiving praise for giving kids suits and teaching them how to tie ties. You have never seen me in a tie, but I know how to tie one. Guess where I learned? My father. The powers that be have gone out of their way, not just to facilitate, but encourage and reward the dismissal of such a potent part of any child's development. Men have been blindsided, and I'll let Al Bundy explain why.
For the same reason men climb mountains or sail across the sea alone. For the only reason that a rational man would do an irrational thing like this. Pride. No, women. I'm a moron, Ray. We're all morons. That's what comes from being a man. From the first little worm they dare us to eat, to the last big shovelful of snow they convince us we can move, we are nothing more to women than an amusement park ride with life insurance.
So what I'm saying is that we're all a little brainwashed to a degree. And that's why I can't help but love you. If you grew up on these streets or in Beverly Hills, your story is your own, and every element of that story shaped who you are now and influences your decision-making process. Meaning you're my brainwashed buddy with a cybernetic arm, like in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which will probably go down as the best MCU movie when all is said and done. But the point being, much like Cap, if I know someone isn't working with the full deck, I'd rather do what I can to snap them out of it instead of doing the arguably smart thing and putting a bullet between their eyes. But we wouldn't have a movie now, would we? So I hope that wasn't too insulting. I know I used a lot of big words back there, but I'm not going to insult you by insinuating that you couldn't keep up. Guys, thanks so much for putting up with me. Please do all the YouTube things. Like, comment, sub, and share. I've been wanting to discuss social engineering and its ramifications on my community for a while on this channel, so I figured I would use my love for you as a good front. The next Inbound is right around the corner, and there is a political endorsement video on deck. So until the next one, and you know I mean it, love.